Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today we're going to be going over the new game mode Chain Link. Now at first glance, Chain Link looks a lot like the Conquest game mode, the difference being that it doesn't really matter how many points you have unless they are linked together. So the number in the lower left hand corner does not represent how many points your team controls, it actually represents how many links your teams control. So a link is basically when you have two adjacent points that are connected by one of the little lines on the minimap. The more links your team has, the faster the enemy teams take its start to bleed, and you could actually make them bleed very fast. You might start off a round where there's 3,000 tickets per side, and the game could be over in less than 10 minutes easily. So if one were to play this game tactically, there would be certain objectives that would make more sense to go after in the first place. Say your enemy team had two links, that would be 3 points connected together. Well, you would want to try and capture the middle point, because all you have to do is capture 1 point, and you basically break all the links there. So if you captured the front point there, they would still have one link left over. If you capture the middle point, you break both the links. So there is definitely some strategy behind the concept of the game mode. However, when you actually play online, this doesn't really seem to follow through too much, just because of the proximity of the maps and how difficult it is to move around some of these maps, just because it's so chaotic. And even if you are trying a more advanced flanking maneuver, chances are you're going to run into a lot of enemy regardless. So it really seems to play out a lot like just a giant team deathmatch game, where they do a better job of focusing the action around some of the points. So let's talk about what the game mode does well. Well, it certainly concentrates the action in certain areas of the map, and depending on where you spawn, you could be in the most intense infantry firefight you've ever had. On top of which, if you like infantry fighting and nothing but infantry fighting, that's what you're going to get in Chain Link. There aren't really many vehicles to be seen. There's a few transport vehicles on some of the maps, but for the most part, you're just going to be going around running and gunning, shooting and getting blown up with grenade launchers and grenades, as would be expected in any sort of extremely intense infantry firefight. At the same time, however, you could look at the things that it does well as sort of a negative aspect. In my opinion, it seems to turn all 4 of the new maps into essentially what feels like 64-player Metro. Although you're not quite as limited as you are in Metro with your flanking options and stuff like that, it does definitely have that same style of infantry concentration, massive explosive spam, and just tons of chaos and people flanking around and hitting you from every which angle. I found that using machine guns was really one of the best options in this game mode, because you just don't have enough time to actually reload your weapon. If you use something that has a long reload, you're going to end up dying a lot mid-reload, because there's so many infantry everywhere hitting you from just about every angle. You just don't have that kind of time to back up around cover, reload that gun. Somebody's going to push your position from some weird angle you weren't expecting and take you out. So machine guns is certainly a good way to play this game mode. Otherwise, playing with an assault rifle with an extremely fast reload would be good, and depending on the map, sniping could also be beneficial. I tried sniping on some of the more wide open maps a little, with limited success. One thing that this game mode does well that I don't think anybody can argue with is it's going to get you points very quickly, just because of the concentration of the action. Regardless of what gun you're using, you're going to be able to unlock new things for it very quickly. You're going to be able to rank up your soldier in this game mode. If you have some nice 200 times XP bonuses, I recommend using them in this game mode, as you are going to make good use of your time and your points. Some of the maps played out better than others, but none of them played out particularly well. I found in Lumpini Gardens, you basically could get spawn camped very easily, and then it was very hard to break out of your actual spawn situation. On the Sunken Dragon map, it becomes very easy for the Chinese team to actually cut off the US from getting any points at all in the beginning of the round, and if they can hold them long enough, they can end that game in a matter of minutes. I think that map needs to be looked at in terms of rebalancing the actual point placement. When it comes to Pearl Market, it seems like roof domination is really the name of the game there. Once my team controlled 3 of the roof points there, and we were just raining down death on anybody running around there, it was very difficult for the enemy team to actually come back from that. So that's the only strategy I can think of for Pearl Market. I was hoping that that map would have a little bit more tactical elements to the ground level, but it really doesn't. You just want to be on the roofs, shooting down on the players below and camping those stairwells. In the propaganda map, the points are all set out in a very linear fashion, so it kind of feels like you're playing a game of Conquest Operation Metro. You can try and sneak past and grab some of the back points there, there, although it becomes very difficult. And depending on which points you're fighting over, some of the choke point areas can be really hard to get past. Sometimes there's just a wall with like 2 or 3 entry points, and that's all you got to do is watch those 2 or 3 entry points. And again, it feels much like Operation Metro once again. When you have 3 points to get through and there's a massive quantity of players trying to get through those points, it's very difficult. Explosive spam gets to an all-time high. So a lot of my initial feelings while playing this game mode really did come out as frustration. There was just such a massive spam of infantry, and it didn't feel like tactics were actually being played out. I didn't feel like I ever got off some really good flanking maneuvers or outsmarted the enemy team in any sort of major way. It was just really everybody running around in every which direction, and whoever had the best twitch reflexes and the best camping spots was going to do well, and those that actually tried to push the objective and run some risky maneuvers were most likely going to get gunned down and not rewarded for it. On the other hand, it was very easy for me to rack up a massive amount of kills each round. I mean, it was really crazy how many points I was able to just burn through while playing this game mode, and that's really going to appeal to a lot of people. I mean, it's why Operation Metro has been so popular. It's why Operation Locker has been so popular. It's why on Battlefield 3 No Shar Canal's Team Deathmatch was so popular, because it's just non-stop action constantly the whole time, and you're certainly going to get that in Chainlink. Whether or not you're able to have some good tactical firefights, on the other hand, has yet to be seen, and I have a feeling for the most part this is going to be more like an arena shooter style game mode rather than a tactical shooter game mode. So overall, I can't say that I'm particularly fond of the Chainlink game mode. It just seems very spammy, tons of explosives, way too much infantry action. The concentration of it, I mean, is just a little bit too intense to the point where it kills any of your tactics or your minute gunplay things that you can pull off, because you're just dying in the middle of reloads and there's a never-ending swarm of infantry attacking you at all times. So it just seems very spammy and very chaotic. Although I have a feeling it's going to be a somewhat popular game mode, especially for those players who really want to grind through ranks and grind through gun unlocks. I know that I'm going to be using it for those things. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Dragon's Teeth videos this week. I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap signing off.